Hello and welcome to The Woven Word. This is a series of interactive 360-degree video tours in which we're going to introduce you to Ulster's rhyming weaver poets, a group of writers who mainly flourished in the 18th and 19th centuries. Writing in their own vernacular Ulster-Scots, their poetry shines a light on what ordinary life was like at that time in our history. Today I'm in the parish of Ballyroney and Drumgooland. I've got some very nosy people joining in with the filming today, some lovely cattle here in this gorgeous location where we're going to be talking about Hugh Porter, the Bard of Moneyslane. He was born here around 1780. We're about, I'd say, 3 miles or so from Catesbridge. And the view that we're looking at today is the view he would have seen. This is an interactive video. That means it's been filmed in 360 degrees. So if you're using your mouse at home or a VR headset, put that on. Look all around. Look at the cows. We've got a cow licking the camera at the moment. Look at this beautiful landscape, which would have been known to Hugh Porter. If we wind the clock right back a couple of hundred years ago, oh, he's knocking the camera, a couple of hundred years ago, this landscape would have been surrounded by little stone cottages, many of them thatched with the half door, smoke spiralling up from their chimneys. The countryside around us would have been the same beautiful green, but you'd have seen the blue of the flax plant everywhere, potato rigs as well as the local people farmed. When Hugh Porter was born, he was apprenticed at the loom. He was a weaver. That makes him a perfect example of this genre of the weaver poets. He would have been turning linen thread into cloth. He got his lucky break when he was about 19 years old because he submitted a poem to a local Church of Ireland rector, a man called the Reverend Thomas Tighe, who went on to be his mentor and patron. To hear the next chapter of this story, we're going to go to the local parish church where the Reverend Thomas Tighe was the rector. So look where I'm standing now. I am in the pulpit in Drumgooland Parish Church. This beautiful building is situated amidst the rolling green drumlins of South County Down, and it was here that the Reverend Thomas Tighe ministered to his flock for over 43 years. So use your VR headset or your mouse now and look out to my right-hand side and you'll see a lovely marble memorial on the wall here which commemorates the ministry of Thomas Tighe. Just underneath it, can you see a small darker coloured slate-like plaque? This commemorates another parishioner, a man called Patrick Prunty. With the support of the Reverend Tighe, he went out to England, got a first-rate education out there, and today he's better known as the father of the famous Bronte sisters. But let's come back to our poet, Hugh Porter. Reverend Tighe was supporting him and mentoring him also. He lent him books from his private library. He invited him to literary soirees at the rectory known as Parsons Hill. Through the Reverend Tighe, Hugh Porter's poems were reaching people like the Bishop of Dromore, the Vicar of Rathfriland, even the London literati, people of affluence and influence. Hugh Porter, meanwhile, he was not a man of affluence. He was just a poor weaver. He was working hard at his loom to support his wife and his children. His health was beginning to decline. He was suffering periods of mental despair. So again, to support him, the Reverend Thomas Tighe stepped in. He helped him gather up 600 different subscribers to a book of his poetry, which was published in 1813 with the modest name Poetical Attempts. These poems by Hugh Porter are lovely. They're quite wide-ranging. Some of them are praise poems in gratitude to the Reverend Tighe. Some of them are about friendship. Some of them are about agriculture and the pastoral world. They show that he had a grasp of European politics. They also show he was very familiar with European literature. So a new edition of his poetry was brought out in the early 1990s. This book here, The Country Rhymes of Hugh Porter, the Bard of Moneyslane. And in the preface, the author wrote his own preface, a lovely 4-verse poem. You're going to hear my colleague John Erskine reading this poem for you. In this, Hugh Porter laments his humble background. He never intended for a book to be brought out. He was only writing to amuse his friends and people that he knew. He uses lovely Ulster-Scots vocabulary. This particular edition has a glossary at the back, which is helpful. But some of the words you might like to look out for are Nathan for nothing, brithers for brothers, tenty for attentive, whisht for shush, words like that. It's really lovely. While John reads the poem, you're going to see the words all appearing on the screen if you look around. Or if you're using YouTube, just expand the description and jump forward in the video and you'll be able to see lovely 360-degree panoramas taken around this area, places which may well have been known to Hugh Porter. So now I'd like you to enjoy John Erskine reading the author's preface to this book of poems by Hugh Porter, the Bard of Moneyslane. Thank you.
The author's preface by Hugh Porter. Reader, since ye hae gien your 5 and 5pence for this bit book that's no worth 2pence, another page or twa of paper would mak it aye look something cheaper. At least mak mair o't for the money. Say, shall I then impost upon ye? Yes, if ye please, and after all, 5 shilling will be thrown awa. But stop, I think I hae enough. I believe muckle o' sic stuff. Yet neither here nor there a leaf is. Come, keys it in the way of Preface. First then, I naething write by rule, for all the knowledge taught at school, mine was a very scanty share. I only learned the letters there. Yet by degrees we tend to heed, at leisure hours I come to read, and thus by bit and bit I grew, that I could write a little too. A willing mind a deal can do. And secondly, plain truth to tell, I made my songs to please mysel, my dearest worthy friends, and others, no just say dear, but rhyming brothers, to whom just as they are I sent them, but never for the public meant them. And thirdly, in the style appears the accent o' my early years, which is nor Scotch nor English either, but pert a baith mixed up thegither. Yet it's the sort my neighbours use, wha think shoon prettier far than shoes. But fourthly, for I'm keen to close, do, you'll say, and do't in prose, for flesh and blood can bear nae langer, this doggerel sang a saint would anger. Content am I, and for the muse, I'm sure she's glad to hear the news. Then fourthly, as I said before, but wished, for I must rhyme no more. The author's preface by Hugh Porter. Reader, since ye hae gien your 5 and 5pence for this bit book that's no worth 2pence, another page or twa of paper would mak it aye look something cheaper. At least mak mair o't for the money. Say, shall I then impost upon ye? Yes, if ye please, and after all, 5 shilling will be thrown awa. But stop, I think I hae enough. I believe muckle o' sic stuff. Yet neither here nor there a leaf is. Come, keys it in the way of Preface. First then, I naething write by rule, for all the knowledge taught at school, mine was a very scanty share. I only learned the letters there. Yet by degrees we tend to heed, at leisure hours I come to read, and thus by bit and bit I grew, that I could write a little too. A willing mind a deal can do. And secondly, plain truth to tell, I made my songs to please mysel, my dearest worthy friends, and others, no just say dear, but rhyming brothers, To whom, just as they are, I sent them, but never for the public meant them. And thirdly, in the style appears the accent o' my early years, which is ne'er Scotch nor English either, but pert o' baith mixed up thegither. Yet it's the sort my neighbours use, wha think shoon prettier far than shoes. But fourthly, for I'm keen to close, do, you'll say, and do't in prose, for flesh and blood can bear nae langer, this doggerel sang a saint would anger. Content am I, and for the muse, I'm sure she's glad to hear the news. Then fourthly, as I said before, but wished, for I must rhyme no more.